Halfway between New Zealand and Australia, a brand new aircraft named Bonnie Blue is winging its way to Christchurch.
10, estimate route ID 0305.
The 737NG, worth $90 million, is the flagship of fledgling Trans-Tasman airline Pacific Blue, which launched in January 2004, just 3 months after Richard Branson's Virgin Airlines announced they were breaking into the New Zealand market. In a world where 80% of new airlines go bust, many said they wouldn't make the launch, let alone turn a profit. Over the next 7 weeks, we reveal if they have the right stuff. We follow the fresh pilots and rookie flight crews as they count down towards the day Pacific Blue takes off.
Check outside, what do you say?
18-year-old Taryn Wright from Nelson is training to become an international flight attendant on new Trans-Tasman airline Pacific Blue.
Come this way, hey, come this way. Foot first, move to the rear of the wing, slide down, move well away. Head spin.
Her friend Carly Tawatonga from Christchurch is just 19. Normally Carly and Taryn would be partying at this time of night or asleep, but there's an exam in 3 hours at 6 a.m, then a full day's study and another exam.
Jump, move well away.
Perfect.
Their tutors are pushing them hard.
You look outside, what do you see?
For good reason.
You had fire here, and it was good, and you waited?
In an aircraft, if there's trouble, your seconds count. An aircraft can be totally enveloped and unsurvivable inside in about 90 seconds if it gets on fire. So if there's a fire, we want to get people out as quickly as we can. And 90 seconds, we could empty a whole plane load of people in 90 seconds if we had to.
There's another purpose to this punishing schedule. It's just 12 weeks before Pacific Blue's first Trans-Tasman flight.
High heels off. Leave everything behind. Get out.
Tipu Daniels has seen it all before. A veteran of 10 years with Ansett, he's one of only a handful of flight attendants in this group with any experience in the air.
Come this way.
Just a month before this, Taryn, Carly and most of the other 31 trainees were raw recruits. Kids from small New Zealand towns.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. We're always excited. Everything was fine with.
On a hot Christchurch afternoon, the cabin crew trainees meet each other for the first time at a party to announce the launch of the new airline. After a grueling selection process, they've been whittled down from 6,000 applicants.
I screamed. Yeah, my whole work screamed, my family screamed, and it's amazing so far. I'm looking forward to it. It's explosive. It's so much energy into it all. It's just awesome. It's awesome to see.
They're getting a taste of what promises to be a glamorous lifestyle. And all are hoping to meet their new employer, Sir Richard Branson, famous balloonist, explorer and hard-nosed entrepreneur. It's been rumoured he's on his way to the party, and Tipu rather hopes the rumours are true.
It's not every day you get to meet Sir Richard Branson. And part of the team now, starting my training on Monday. It's nice to meet the number one man, the main man.
To everyone's amazement, looking just like he's stepped from his balloon, Branson appears. The billionaire who launched the spectacularly successful Virgin Airlines in the UK and Australia believes he can repeat his winning formula here and has chosen a young team to make his dream come true.
Thank you for this incredible turnout. Virgin Blue, as I think everybody knows, set up in Australia about 2.5 years ago. We've now got about 30% of the Australian market.
The nervous newbies are hanging on Sir Richard's every word, but Tipu is forced out by the heat and a ruptured Achilles.
Getting a bit tired on the old leg, a bit puckaroo.
Tipu's still hoping to meet the boss, but Sir Richard, always a man with an eye for a bargain, has other things in his sights, like a free flight from the opposition.
I'll sneak up behind them.
Air New Zealand's Freedom Air is giving away tickets to Sydney, and Sir Richard wants one.
Thank you very much. Oh no, we'll just give it to Pub. I won't give these away for the 8th birthday, so it's...
So they only left?
Oh,
do they let me have one?
Yeah, we can see one.
They must be going quickly.
Back at the party, the trainees are getting in the mood, while still hoping to meet Sir Richard.
Love is in the air, Love is in the air.
Now he's got his flights sorted, Branson returns to meet the fresh-faced people who will make the difference between success and failure for Pacific Blue.
Hello.
And among the group, a familiar face.
I thought I saw you. How are you?
Dawn Dart's a trainee supervisor who previously worked for Branson at Virgin Atlantic in the UK.
Yeah, he said, you know, my name, and he gave me a big hug and a kiss, and yeah, which was really nice. And then I got him a drink actually. We went over to the bar and chatted, and he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I emigrated and I'm working for you again." I can't believe it.
Tipu can't believe his luck as he finally gets his moment.
You damaged yourself?
Yes, I did.
What's happened?
Ruptured Achilles on the rugby scrum machine.
Oh dear.
Although Tipu's nervous, it seems he and the other crew have met Branson's exacting criteria.
Thank you.
I mean, I think the key for people who are training is to make sure that they're the kind of people who genuinely care about people. I mean, it's almost before they've trained. We've got to be sure we've taken on the right kind of person, and they're the kind of people who know how to have a laugh, know how to smile, and know how to look after people and genuine people. That's what we're looking for.
The next morning, things are a little less glamorous.
5 weeks of full-on training, and I bet your time's going to fly, eh? Excuse the pun.
As the 31 trainees gather for the start of a pressure cooker course. 5 weeks emergency skills, 3 weeks food, then a month in Aussie with Virgin Blue.
This is my brother man, Robert Ropata or Raps. He is the man from Nelson, and we're going to be like the Blues Brothers. We're going to be the Brown Brothers.
The Māori Battalion.
The Māori Battalion.
In contrast to the trolley dolly image, coffee service will be left till last. First and foremost is training and saving lives. The next few days are a blur as the classroom becomes their home away from home, from sun up to way past midnight.
Get out. Seatbelts. High heels up. Leave everything behind. Get out.
They keep going through everything every day. Every day they start revision from the next day. And I mean, you've got to go home and study. It's as easy as that, but it's worth it in the end. Yeah.
The first day is sort of slow, but everyone's a bit more nervous, but today we've loosened up a bit. Everyone's getting to know each other. Our personalities coming out now.
Yeah, I think they're warming up to it, and I think they are going to loosen up a lot. And they're starting to get to know us, I know that.
Check outside conditions.
And before these guys are allowed anywhere near a plane, they have to learn to get out of one.
If we're evacuating, guys, you'd run up the aircraft, up the middle, jump on a row of seats. You, look outside, what do you see?
Nothing.
Pull the handle, let go! Foot first, move to the rear of the wing, slide down, move well away.
And then there's every bit of gear an attendant could need in a crisis.
Looking through everything and playing with stuff and trying to get ourselves used to it, because we've got tests on everything, so we've got to make sure we've got to learn how to use everything pretty much.
And that includes learning how to restrain an intoxicated or dangerous passenger.
And then just put it on and just push it down. Push it.
By week's end, the first big exam. The pass mark is 80%. The tutors are hoping not to have to tell anyone in the group they've failed.
It's hard to do. You just need to keep your positive outlook and remain instill a confidence back in them, so they know that you can find where their weaknesses are. Not exploit those, of course, but just let them know this is where you've made a mistake. But this is how you can pick it up, and this is where I can see that you're successful in all these other aspects.
They're not the only ones under stress. Head honcho Tony Marks and his management team still have to employ another 100 staff, wade through masses of red tape on both sides of the Tasman, and buy a second brand new 737.
And I did remind them that we would need to pay for the incoming aircraft, preferably without the drama that we had last time.
Next, the real emergency training.
I've got a secret, yes. Oh yeah, I'm a little bit claustrophobic.
In the Pacific Blue cabin crew course, the first exam is over, and everyone waits nervously for the results.
Very hard to tell.
Well, they get you worked up, they keep you on knife edge.
and then you get it and it's over. Yeah.
So Tipu relieves the tension with some blinding science.
This is a heliograph signal mirror.
An hour later, the results are out. Some only just scrape through, but all make it over the pass mark of 80%.
Relieved now. I think everyone's happy to get that one out of the way.
But then there's the second exam, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth.
Is it number 3 or number 4 today?
4.
Number 4.
We've got another one tomorrow, and that's 5, so we've got 6 to go. Okay, I was nervous in my exam. I'm still feeling nervous about the results. It's over, you know, it's another one over. It's real funny because half of my friends are sitting there going, you're training for 5 weeks on how to pour coffee?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, no, you do not get it. It's not that easy.
We are the unfastened ones. We are the loose baggage on board. Should a door blow out, heaven help us if it does, we'd be the first ones to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of emergencies, you can only learn so much in the classroom. It's time to get wet.
Come this way, jump, inflate life jacket, move.
And face the reality of ditching the plane halfway across the Tasman. This is not just a drill. Everyone must go through all steps of the physical sections in order to pass. Tipu, with his injured leg, is worried he won't make it through this stage and won't get to go flying in Australia with the rest of the group.
It wasn't too bad actually with the life jacket and the buoyancy. I was able to float.
Don't do anything.
But they're not here just to float about, as one trainee is about to find out.
If she was unconscious, there's something we can do to lift her into the raft without using too much effort. It's a dunk, 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 and up she comes. Try that one.
This dunking stuff is worrying Tipu. He's mastered every stage so far, but can't risk damaging his newly healed Achilles tendon. So he's forced to ask one of the tutors for special dispensation.
You can fly in Oz. Yeah. So what you have to do is in group 2, you have to come and just jump in the raft in group 2. So you can let that down now if you like.
I would rather pass straight away, as in the Pacific Blue operation, but patience is a virtue. So just take it slowly and I can do it in the new year.
Relieved he's made it through, Tipu celebrates with his wife Heather and son Jackson.
Pacific Blue Square.
Back at Pacific Blue HQ, Chief Pilot Bob Mahn's family is also keeping him company.
Airlines always, because this fella here that I had coming up to Brisbane now tells me he won't have a New Zealand licence by then.
Stuart, Hamish and Grace have the run of the building, while Lynn Mahn is helping Bob to process the mountain of paperwork involved in certifying 15 new pilots.
Here I am in the office, and I never see the family so often that I brought him with me.
There's a couple of weekends I've come out with him, and it's wonderful to see what he does. He's always been a very good pilot, and I respect that, and really proud of what he does.
In the meantime, I'll just try and get back to work and try not to panic.
Next morning, the team gathers for another early start. For Jessie Guranathan, that means breakfast on the trot, Malaysian style.
It's called congee, but in my language, it means diddle. I can't speak it much. All I know is like the dirty words. So that in Tamil, you've learnt something new today, means diddle. It's kind of like a powerhouse breakfast, you know, brain food with a twist.
The whole team will need their brain food today, as they're about to confront every flyer's worst nightmare, fire breaking out at 40,000 feet.
Today we are going out to the fire station, learning some firefighting techniques, and I believe we're going to be put into a smoke-filled cabin.
We light an actual fire in the training mock-up. It's real flames, it's real fuel, real smoke with toxic fumes and carbon particles in there, so it's as close as we can get for them.
Before they get to that stage, the trainees are given a taste of what's to come.
So this will give you an idea of what it's like trying to get out of a smoke-filled cabin, and then later on we get in the training ground, give you an idea of what the smoke's really like.
Timber, stop touching.
The smoke is actually dry ice vapour, so they can experience losing their vision without choking.
Leave everything behind. Get out.
I'd love my crutch.
The smoke was like a thick sort of smoke, and yeah, you couldn't see anything. Tasted yak, and
It's like being blind. It's like, and you're completely disorientated because you can't see.
But that's just the warm-up. The real smoke is next.
Looking forward to getting into a very hot, smoky chamber.
Not every member of the group is looking forward to the big black smoke box.
I've got a secret, yes. Oh yeah, I'm a little bit claustrophobic, so it's good to have this practice and sort of overcome it.
Jessie knows entering the chamber is not just crucial to passing the course, it may save her life.
I feel like Dr. Ropata. People have to remember that statistics, I know you can play with statistics, but they say that 80% of passengers on an aircraft will survive an airport-based crash. And that's where we've got cabin crew to get the survivors out, you've got fire crew to go there and create those survivable conditions for them. You'll be right by the door, and we're only going to come in probably 5 or 6 at a time, and anyone's free to leave anytime they want to.
Jessie's trying hard not to freak out as the fire is lit. The chamber quickly fills with choking toxic fumes.
Again, it's not pleasant smoke, it starts to get into your eyes or get up your nose, and the smoke layer of about here at the moment.
Jessie feels her panic rising and nearly succumbs to claustrophobia. Yet she manages to hang on inside longer than Tipu, who's on hand to capture her exit.
My heart starts to sort of race, and you can sort of hear it. Like you can hear it and you can feel it. And here, like, becomes tight.
It was so freaky. If that's what happens in real life, look at the state of my mask. That's how much smoke is inside that tube.
So everyone makes it through the most physically demanding part of the course, but the fear is not over yet. Next, 2 trainees on the brink of failure as Carly wrestles with an aircraft door. And Zahara struggles with her fear of heights.
You go. Go.
While the Pacific Blue cabin crew trainees are sweating it out back in New Zealand, at Virgin Blue HQ in Brisbane, 15 new pilots are being upskilled in the simulator on the finer points of their new aircraft.
100, 50, 20, 10.
Upstairs, Pacific Blue's CEO has arrived in Brisbane to lobby the Australian authorities, who require extra certification for the new NG 737s. Tony Marks is worried the red tape won't be cut through in time for the launch.
That's 737-800 next gen, NG, next generation. These are the only ones around. So from that perspective, there's only one other 737-800 flying the Tasman. So these are one of the reasons why we've had to go through a lot of regulatory issues, is because these are first of type.
At Brisbane Airport, Captain Bob Mann is about to take the controls of one of the real planes, the first of Pacific Blue's new fleet. He's carrying out a pre-flight inspection before taking it across the ditch to Christchurch.
We have the 800 series, high gross weight, which is a U-Butte aeroplane, and it's a 737, but it goes, as every pilot knows, higher, further, faster. The sort of aeroplane pilots love to brag about.
Compared to the classic 737, the NG's a sports car.
We're up here now at 41,000 feet, and that's about 12,500 metres. We've got a ground speed of 454 knots, which is around about 850 kilometres an hour. An interesting thing about the NG, that we're at 41,000 feet. The Classic can't do that. If we were in the Classic, we'd be in that cloud down there. So we have the ability to go up to 41,000 feet and sit on top of all this cloud while maintaining going quite a bit faster than the Classic. So our crossing times for the Tasman will be far better than those of our competitors, which we think is a distinct advantage for us.
Back in Christchurch, the pressure is rising as the recruits build towards their emergency procedures exam in 3 days.
Hangar 11.
Hangar 11.
It's going to be a long night, it's tiring. Yelling at people, losing voices, but it's all good.
Give myself a half an hour to eat and be in the next classroom on the aircraft, so very rushed at the moment. Yeah.
The practical lessons are being held in an Australian Virgin plane, and for most of the crew, it's their first time on board. But there's no time to admire the leather seats, as the trainees are put through the drills they've been rote learning in the classroom.
We're going to go hard, we're going to get as much outside as possible.
Hurry!
The stress is showing as Matt Cleaver struggles with total recall.
Slide down, move well away. Hurry, come this way.
And there's no let up in the rule that everyone must complete all parts of the course, including wrestling a 50-kilogram door. Jessie's claustrophobia is abating, her confidence growing.
Unfasten seatbelts. High heels up. Leave everything behind. Get out. Unfasten seatbelts. High heels up. Leave everything behind. Get out.
But it's 3 in the morning and Carly's strength fades at just the wrong moment.
Go baby, come on.
Go Carly, come on.
Oh, the door latch is gone again, you know.
If Carly doesn't manage this, she'll have to come back every night until she does.
Unclick it,
Come on, Robert, scare it. Not Robert. Just really incapacitated you.
The next morning there's another exam and then it's back to the hangar.
It's going to start coming out soon, especially on those days when we're all there till 3 in the morning. The truth's going to come out.
But there's no time for gossip tonight as it's down the plastic slide.
Pretty cool.
Although the secrets are still coming out, this time it's Zahara Al-Dagestani's fear of heights.
You go. Go.
Got your arms. Step out, sit down.
And that'll be fine. Just step out. Instead of heights. Just step out.
But it's not all fear and no fun. These flight attendants have got a reputation to live up to. And as predicted, the secrets are surfacing.
I'd like to say I'm straight.
We're actually quite a dirty bunch when you get us out of the classroom.
Hard to get cleavage and stuff. He's the man.
We contain ourselves in the classroom, but as soon as we're out of there, whoa.
The only thing I drink, Miss Moneypenny, is martini, shaken, never stirred.
Fun, we're gonna get smashed. We're gonna celebrate our achievements because we have worked so hard.
It's a last blast before their final emergency procedures exam on Monday. Those who graduate will be sent to Australia for a month's flying experience with Virgin Blue. Those who don't will have to join a second training group and start again.
Oh, come on Monday, we won't be relaxed.
It's probably been the hardest week yet, especially with the thought of the 2-hour exam coming up on Monday. So they're here down for the weekend, study on Sunday, get into it at 6 o'clock Monday morning.
Next week, it's joke as wild as the trainees find their feet on Australia's Virgin Blue, and some have a crash landing.
I'm just tired, I just want a cigarette. And a bourbon or a vodka, I don't care, just...
Last week we met the pilots and cabin crew working to get Sir Richard Branson's new Kiwi airline Pacific Blue off the ground. We watched as Tipu, Jessie, Taryn, Carly and their fellow trainees went through a punishing emergency training course. This week they face their final exams. Those who graduate head off to Oz on Virgin Blue. In the Pacific Blue training course, the 31 rookie flight attendants are nearing the end of their emergency training at a heart-pumping pace.
This is Robo cabin crew.
With a course in CPR. If a patient has a cardiac arrest mid-flight, it could be 18-year-old Taryn Wright's job to save their life.
Somebody's got to stay with him, and what are they going to monitor?
We're going to check their pulse.
Correct. And you need to check that at least every minute.
Or 28-year-old Claire Tapoki.
Has he got a pulse? Has your one got a pulse?
Yeah.
It's supposed to.
Jessie Gurunathan could also be a lifesaver.
Remove anything with the trigger finger.
Hasta la vista, baby.
After lunch, it's shoe fitting time.
And you just put my shoe in that box.
For the woman, that is.
Well, I don't know. Where's my high heels here, darling?
Darling, you get special Ugg boots.
Ugg boots. Cool. I can tuck my pants into my rugby socks.
High heels.
That's perfect.
It's lovely. And free, which is good. We like free.
What Dawn doesn't like are the long hours.
Oh, look at me. There's no bags under my eyes. 2 young children. I've come to training for a rest.
That night, the tired trainees are still awake at 2 a.m. and the strain is starting to tell on Dawn.
Show Bo how to fit the DAC.
And fellow parent Claire, who's got a 3-year-old girl.
Well, I suppose like getting up at crazy times of the night is, you know, sort of about the same sort of stuff, but yeah, it's just more full on. Like when you've got a kid, you just get her out of bed, change a nappy, put her back in bed, here you got to remember all this stuff, it's just crazy.
The next morning, the 2 oldest trainees, Bo Fielding and Ros Dons, are practicing their drills before a test this afternoon.
Hurry, come this way.
Beautiful.
For authenticity, Bo's even got high heels.
You love this, don't you?
A former funeral director, car salesman and personal trainer, Bo's determined not to return to any of his former professions.
Everything behind, get out. Okay. Unfasten seatbelts, high heels off, leave everything behind, get out.
Across town, Matt Cleaver's also feeling nervous. On the way to today's test, he's picked up classmate Michelle to help.
We've got a big exam on later on this afternoon, so test each other on the way, on our evacuation drills and everything.
What do we do just before we take our seats? And we do the same thing just after we get out of our seats after the brace.
Our cabin lights, make sure they're on dimmed.
Awesome.
The eyes to the outside.
Yep, awesome.
And then on brace signal.
Great, that's fantastic, Eddie. Well done.
First, move to the rear of the wing, slide down, move well away. Foot first, move to the rear of the wing, slide down, move well away.
Excellent. It's getting there. That's good. You'll be fine.
Gotta get this right. Would you like your hand, darling?
Tipu's feeling a bit more relaxed about the whole process. He's been flying now for 14 years and has the wings to prove it.
Look at that. That's my pride and joy.
Tipu did 10 years with Ansett before it all ended.
No, but that's cool. Since I was made redundant, I've worked for 1, 2, 3, 4 airlines.
Tipu feels good about this airline, but he's not enjoying the hours on the pressure cooker course.
He's been tired, very tired. It's been quite draining, hasn't it? Jackson likes to wake him up early in the mornings and give him a kiss, which doesn't always go down well.
The cabin crew trainees are not the only ones under stress today. Across the Tasman, Pacific Blue Chief Pilot Bob Mahon is about to take 2 prospective pilots through a simulator test. The airline needs 15 new pilots, but each one has to prove to Bob they have the right stuff before they fly the new Boeing.
Or you're taxiing out and your mate did it, you know, and you're still taxiing.
Bob's only got 6 pilots signed up, and if these 2 don't pass today's test, the launch may have to be postponed.
You happy with the procedure there? Yeah. Okay.
Bob's going to throw them some curly ones after a simulated takeoff from Auckland.
We will have probably an engine fire that the guys will have to deal with, and it's a matter of them going through their particular items and doing them in the correct sequence. 8,000 kilos of fuel. We'll give it some weather. I've put in a wind coming from 160 at about 10 knots. Visibility is 300 metres. There's a little bit of ground fog on today. Cloud base 130 feet and the top's at 6,000 feet. Temperature's 15 and the pressure level is 1013.
Set thrust.
Firstly, Bob calls for an aborted takeoff.
Eject. Speed brakes up.
Bluebird 7, are you declaring an emergency?
Once they're in the air and supposedly heading for Hamilton, Bob throws another curveball.
Engine fire.
It's the left engine.
To see that we've had a engine fire, and we'd like now to go into the holding pattern AT, thanks.
Bluebird 7, roger, make a left turn. I say again left turn, track direct to Whitford. I say again Whitford, 3,000 feet and hold.
The pilots have got to show Bob they've covered everything in the training manual.
Engine fire, severe damage separation checklist. Fire is detected in the related engine.
Approaching minimums. 500.
The fire's soon under control. Now there's the touchdown at Auckland in bad weather on just one engine.
10.
Speed brakes up.
Bob's collapsed the left undercarriage.
The left landing gear's collapsed. Right. The FMC, you're in Auckland. So it's important that the guys, which they follow the procedures, and that's what part of this, it's actually training. So it reinforces in your mind what's in the books, so that if it does happen, it's second nature to do it.
So are these guys the real deal?
Very good. Both in decision making, in manipulation, and in backup. It's good, very good. You can tell that they're experienced Boeing pilots.
And you would hope on the line that that sort of thing, those sort of cumulative problems didn't occur all at once. Yeah. Be having a particularly bad day.
You've just got to keep working at it, and we go through the standard procedures, and you can accomplish it. We're trained for that, so we're still in the middle of our training, so we're getting there.
The next morning back in Christchurch, the cabin crew trainees are about to sit their big exam. Everyone's doing their best to appear carefree until the examiners arrive and hand out the papers.
Just put your hand up.
As usual, the pass mark is 80%. There's a 1-hour written section, which is stressful enough. But even worse is a nerve-wracking question and answer session.
And not expecting any problems.
What's the alternate method?
When Tipu's put on the spot and he's asked to list the 12 main emergency procedures, exhaustion kicks in halfway through and his mind turns blank.
Number 6 is to...
If he can't complete this list, there'll be no second chances, just like a real emergency.
Watch outside conditions. Disarm doors.
Next, as the flight attendants graduate, will Tipu be amongst them? And Matt has a crash landing. In the final exam, Tipu has had a potentially devastating memory lapse.
And the ditching. Number 7 is to evacuate.
If he can't pass this, it could all be over.
Check outside. Number 10, collect equipment. Safety equipment. Number 11 is to evacuate the aircraft, and number 12 is to assist outside the aircraft.
Finally, the practical section, held on the Virgin plane they've been using for training.
I can't do this by myself. It's like getting married. You need 2 people. Sometimes 3, depending on what you're into, but we need at least 2.
Goran and Jesse are going to be tested on one of the most crucial parts of their job, making sure the doors are properly closed before takeoff and opened again after landing.
Are you ready? John the flight, taxiing into the gate. Captain says, cabin crew, please disarm doors and cross-check.
To avoid a mid-air door blowout, airline regulations require each attendant to check the other's actions.
Those aren't been cross-checked.
So you had me, didn't you?
Is it? Hello,
Now it's Claire and Marty's turn.
We land, we taxi up to the gate, and the captain says, cabin crew, please disarm doors and cross-check.
Doors disarmed and cross-checked.
Well done. Yeah.
Looks like Jesse, Goran and Claire are through. What about Bo? He's feeling confident after all of his extra practice.
Okay, so here.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's right, you didn't do it.
Did I get it the wrong way?
Yes.
When I cross-checked, I went to the top first.
Bo's worried. Any more mix-ups and he risks failing the exam. 2 days later, those who passed are stepping out in their uniforms.
97%. Damn good. Damn good. So I passed with flying colours, which is good.
I kicked ass in the exam. So I studied really hard over the weekend and things, and yeah, so I did really well.
Everyone did really well. I mean, I don't think anyone got under 80, so everyone did really well.
Smart but casual, comfortable but cool.
It's quite cool though. We're very proud of this uniform.
And the boys' jackets I think are hot, and the girls, they look hot.
There are now just 10 days until they fly to Australia and get thrown in the deep end on Virgin Blue. Before that, there's the food trolley to master.
If we're serving a coffee, we just grab a serviette and just pop it around the coffee cups like so. So when we go to grab one, we're not actually touching the rim of the cup, and pour it in.
Tea, coffee or me?
It's all good there.
Just in the seat pocket we have a list of our menu.
Okay, and a breakfast.
Yeah.
So you like VB with your breakfast?
Yes please.
It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beverage this one.
Why are these in here?
We don't have a Merlot, just a Shiraz today, unfortunately.
All-encompassing. This is what you
There's also another scary realisation.
On board the aircraft, they are like the entertainment, so we don't have any onboard entertainment. So the crew will do a service, and then they might get up in the cabin and get everyone to play games, or some crew sing. So if they're good singers, they might get up and sing a song. They're doing a big wing ceremony for their final ceremony, and they're going to put on a big song and dance show. So it'll be really, really interesting to see.
Have fun, fun, fun. How about a few laughs, laughs? We can show you a good time.
The pace quickens. There's assisting the disabled.
Straightforward. Now it's quite narrow, so we're just going to go between the cars, and the mirrors are at waist level. They're just coming up now, so just be aware of those.
Dealing with unwanted visitors.
But this could carry anthrax and quite a few other diseases.
And facing daily security checks.
There you go.
Those with families are also having to face the fact they'll be away from their loved ones for a month while they're flying in Australia.
So when the flights come back from the ice, the Americans come back in.
Claire will be leaving daughter Finn and partner Alexander. He's been a full-time house husband for the past month.
I've got a bit of grief from the boys, but all round it's been pretty good. It's sort of refreshing. And,
Noodles.
we will get some 2-minute noodles, yeah. Just because she wanted to get out and show what she could do.
She's going to be flying on Virgin Blue.
Pacific Blue. You did good, bub.
She's going to paint faces on the plane.
Mummy has indeed graduated to face painting.
It's probably better to make it on a kid's face than an adult's, though, to be honest. Because kids don't have blemishes and stuff all over their face that people can crack up at. Sorry.
It's Wings Day, where these Kiwis finally get their licence to fly.
All of a sudden we're flight attendants called cabin crew. It's just, 4 weeks ago we were just Joe Blogs off the street, and now we're coming through this course and go to Australia next week, and we're there, we're doing it, and it's just, oh my god.
Okay, well, I'd like to formally welcome everybody here tonight for a Pacific Blue celebration. Particular welcome to all our guests and of course to the Pacific Blue cabin crew.
And so these small-town New Zealanders from all walks of life have shown they have the right stuff to make it through the tough training course, to become one of Richard Branson's favoured few. But there's a tough month ahead in Australia, where it will be sink or swim, and some may still not make the airline launch just 7 weeks away.
So proud. Finally done, did our wings tonight, just so cool.
But that night there's some heavy celebrating. And 2 days later Matt's life has been turned upside down.
I was piggybacking someone else from the group, and yeah, just as they jumped on my back, that's when I rolled my ankle and went face first. Just, I can't smile, I can't. So I stitches in my upper lip and had to get new front teeth basically. They had to get them capped because they were all chipped.
Matt's big worry is not being on the plane to Australia.
That was one thing I was sort of worried about in the A&E, just sort of how I was going to tell everyone here that what I'd done and whether I was still going to be able to come away.
Next, Mile High hijinks as our team heads to Oz.
Look at that body!
And loneliness sets in for Carly.
God, I miss home. But I brought my teddy.
At Christchurch Airport, an Australian Virgin Blue plane is being prepared to take 16 Pacific Blue flight attendants to Melbourne. Matt's been cleared to go, but he's been told he can't work until his face heals.
I can't drag and stuff through the puddles, Carly. What's in this one? I tried to pack light because I knew that I'd be having like lots of stuff coming home. My mum packed my bags.
Oh, did she? Yeah, same with my mum, because I packed it all in and she was like, no, that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't love
You should have
packing it.
seen mine.
It worked out really well.
I've got going out ones, beach ones, casual ones, and work ones. Oh, 8 pairs of shoes. Oh, 8 pairs of shoes. Yeah.
Not only must they farewell their tutors, the group of 31 who've become a close-knit family is being split up.
Yeah. Hope you heal really quickly.
The first group of 16 is flying to Australia today. Another group, led by Tipu, will head over in a week. The plan is that half of the flight attendants will be based in Brisbane, the other half in Melbourne.
Back on the next plane.
Goran's not too happy about ending up in Melbourne.
But now I want to go to Brisbane. No, I want to go to Melbourne. That's why I'm going to Melbourne, because it's hot.
Can I take 2?
And not cold. I'm far too slim for this weather. I don't have any reserves to live off. I'm freezing.
Oh, have you? Yeah, if we got one. No, I just want to know what the I think it's 123 feet. And it's flight level 410.
While the Kiwis are leaving behind their homes, friends and families, the Aussie trainers are returning to theirs after a month away.
It's strange to go home. I think that's why I got so sad today. It's like sort of the end of it.
Out over the Tasman, the hungry youngsters tear into everything that's not locked away.
Happy journeys.
We bought everything that we need except utensils. Does anybody have a fork? Yay, thank you very much. Love you.
It's freezing. Look at that.
Yeah, it's like -50 outside.
It's cold outside. Minus 60 degrees C. So talk about snap frozen. If you were able to step outside, you'd be snap frozen in an instant.
We were just talking about if we had any fears about taking this job on, like, you know, and Rosalind asked me if I did. I said, well, once you've taken off, it's too late, isn't it? I don't think after a while you'll worry about it.
That's comforting.
Once all the food's eaten, there's nothing left to do but play truth or dare.
You have to take all your tops off and
soon there are all sorts of dares. In the end, there's only one person in the group who dares to choose truth.
Truth. Have you ever, and who was it, thought of anyone on this course sexually?
Yes.
Oh, and who was it?
Jesse and Claire.
What about the other? No. There was one more. There was one more.
I'm so not saying that.
I can't say it.
And Scott.
They'll have to enjoy it while they can. The next plane they're on will be full of passengers, the unsuspecting Australian public.
They're almost doing like reserve flying, so if somebody goes sick, if they're needed, they'll be called up, and there'll be plenty of work for them, so they won't be sitting around doing nothing.
Tomorrow, half the team will fly to Brisbane and half will stay in Melbourne. Many of them have never left New Zealand before, and now they're staying at the Hilton. It's their first stop on a big adventure.
I miss home. Then I bought my teddy. You see my teddy? This is Ted. I got him when I was born. It's pretty cool. I'm surprised he got through customs. I said, is he alright?
Next week, Taryn takes off. Jessie gets the Brisbane team pumping. And Zahara sets the record straight.
Of course I'm not a terrorist.
Last week, as Richard Branson's new Pacific Blue airline counted down to its launch, 31 rookie Kiwi flight crew got the chance of a lifetime. They must complete a month's flying in Australia to ensure securing a job with Virgin's Pacific Blue. Tonight, 18-year-old Taryn from Nelson and Auckland to Bow are thrown in the deep end, and Jessie faces a deranged passenger.
I don't want to die here. I don't want to die on this plane.
While Pacific Blue management is flat out back in Christchurch prepping for the airline launch, the 7 cabin crew trainees based in Melbourne have been at the airport Hilton since they arrived in the country 2 days ago. They're scheduled to take off on their first flights working with the general public. The aircraft is ready, the passengers are boarding, the runway is being cleared of obstacles. But at the last minute, the Kiwis have been bowled an underarm by the Aussies.
What happened was we couldn't fly for some reason because of the CASA regulations or some sort of regulations that Virgin have got to sort out, so we can't fly until tomorrow.
We don't really mind about it though because we all get to go shopping now. Yeah.
As the management team in Christchurch scrambles to unravel this latest burst of red tape, the trainees head into Melbourne. For many, it will be their first taste of a big foreign city.
Look how tall their buildings are.
But their excitement is tempered with sadness.
30 of us to begin with, and then they split us in half, so they thought, right, we can do it, we're alright, we can do it.
And then
they split us in half again, and then we're going, no, we feel
yeah, especially our group is our family, and it's just hard getting ripped apart now, It's horrible.
Awesome.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, skyscrapers, lots of people, I love it.
And my mum told me to keep my mouth closed when I'm walking through, so I'm not walking like that.
Let's go get a massage.
Can we get a massage? Can we get a massage?
I'm Matt here, Channel 9. What's going on, girls? Would you like a free coffee and a massage?
Yeah, I'd love a free coffee.
Get with me in the free store. Come on.
While the kids get happy, back in Christchurch, Pacific Blue's new $90 million aircraft has arrived, and the technical team is carrying out comprehensive checks to ensure it's 100% ready to fly the Trans-Tasman route.
Every part on the aeroplane must be accounted for. We have people going through part by part by part, identifying where the part came from, how long it's been there, and what its history is. If there's even the tiniest O-ring missing, everything stops and we start at step one again and going through the process to find out where this jolly O-ring is and how we can put it on the aeroplane.
2 days later, the cabin crew trainees have got the green light from the Aussies, and Taryn and Carly are up with the kookaburras. Carly's off to Perth, and Taryn's going to Sydney and back again, twice.
I'm wondering if it was quarter to, but I'm sure it was quarter to that they were flying, that they were leaving, and quarter past was the time that we were meeting. I'm not going to be
It's a hurry-up call from her crew supervisor.
Hello? Hey? Are you gonna, when are we going? Do we have to go down there now then? Alright.
This is the real thing.
Okay.
Taryn may have been a star student, but all her training will count for nothing if she can't cut it here in Australia. Half an hour later, as Carly takes off on her flight, Taryn's trying hard to remain calm. She's going to Sydney and back to Melbourne twice, a total of 4 flights. Thankfully, she's got Kurt to help. He's been in the job 2 months.
We had Rob training him for a while as well.
So I tell you, the one thing that really gets to you is everybody is watching you do that safety demonstration. Everybody is watching you do the service, and it's just something that they can't prepare you for in training, I think.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This information is for all guests who are travelling to Sydney this morning. We will commence boarding in approximately 5 minutes or so.
Guys, we're going to start boarding. Okay, so if I can just get someone at the overwing. Today's Sunday.
Taryn thinks she's going to be down the back of the plane, but cabin supervisor Emma Gould will be assessing her and wants Taryn close by.
Wasn't sure if you'd be down the back or not, so if I put you up the front.
Okay.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm not worried. I just get to stare at more people. So they're like, I reckon, throw me in the deep end. Oh, excuse me, deep. No, I'm joking. Nah. Yeah, I know I'll probably muck it up a little bit, but I can only laugh at myself. That's the only way you can do it. It's probably getting up in front of everyone and mucking up the safety demo that's going to be the worst thing. Or spilling a cup of coffee on someone, that could be horrible. But hopefully that won't happen. Hello. Oh, are you alright? Row 6 on the right hand side. I'm getting confused now. Hi there.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? Okay, so you're row 4 on the right hand side there, and you're right beside him.
You've just stepped on board Virgin Blue's Boeing 737-800.
Having boarded the plane successfully, the next hurdle is the safety demo.
In preparation for our takeoff, ensure that your seatbelt is fastened, your seat back is in the upright position with the armrest down and tray tables folded away. Please check that your hand baggage is put away securely as the aisle exits must remain completely clear. The safety instruction card in the seat pocket shows the brace position and contains other vital information on what you should do. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please take time to read it before we take off. Your seatbelt should now be fastened low and tight around your hips. To fasten the belt, push the 2 metre leaders together until they click. To adjust, pull the straps until tight, and to release, lift up on the buckle just like this.
Only a slight muck-up, but Taryn felt all those eyes watching her and is slightly scared of what's next.
Wear that up. Do you want to go down the back and help set up? Yep. I'll do service with you.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep, that's cool.
Meanwhile, 1,500 k's away up in Brisbane, another 7 Kiwi trainees are relaxing in the sun, waiting for flights later in the day. Despite the happy year, it's not all hijinks. Matt's been grounded while his face heals, the result of a late-night prank gone wrong back in New Zealand. And Jessie's still stunned from a scary incident on her first flight. As the plane was taking off, a woman jumped to her feet and ran screaming towards Jessie, who was still strapped in her seat.
She comes running down the back galley to us, and I'm sitting there going, I was in a little bit of shock, and the next thing I look up and she's standing there going, I don't want to die here. I don't want to die on this plane. and then I was just saying, oh, you're not going to die, it's going to be fine. And just going, no, I should have just stayed in the hospital and died there.
Life is tough for these trolley dollies as they keep up a rigorous fitness regime.
Stomach crunches. Are you getting warmed up for Pilates? Windsor Pilates?
Welcome to Pacific Blue Pilates.
Windsor Pilates. Oh no, just Pilates. Just Pilates.
Pacific Blue, come this way. Hurry, come this way.
So Roz, Matt and Jessie get down to it with an enthusiastic audience of personal trainers. Fellow flighties Samgo and Zahara are packing in the health food on the side.
These guys are doing Kama Sutra and I'm doing Pilates.
Inspired by her fellow musclewoman Zahara Del Agostani joins in. Zahara's especially looking forward to her first flight later today. Before being